Welcome to this episode of Beauty Business Matters. I'm your host, Susan Routledge. And today is very, very special because today I have Arif Isikgun with me. And Arif is the only second guest that we've had on the podcast. And the reason that I've got Arif back is because anyone who listened or watched the first episode will know the fantastic information that he gave, because Arif is a global sales trainer who I've sort of coerced into the beauty industry now, and is doing phenomenal things. So from when I first had Arif as a guest, there's so much happened, hasn't there, Arif? So welcome again.
Thank you.
And I mean, for anyone who hasn't listened to the first one, we were just chatting coming over in the car, weren't we, about like how we very first met, which now is over 2 years ago. And that just seems unreal, the amount of things that we've done together, but the amount that you've achieved within our industry in that time. So do you want to just do a little quick thing on how we met and sort of where things have taken you from there?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Joan Scott was our mutual friend, and I met her at Spa Life, a few years ago. And the first person she said I had to meet was you.
Oh.
She did, honestly. She said, I have to introduce you to Susan Routledge. She is amazing in the industry. You'll love her. And then we went into London, and there was that
textured hair
kind of conference. They did that cinematic screening, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which was really important for the diversity and the representation within the industry. And then we had a few Prosecco's afterwards.
Those days when I used to drink.
True.
Yes.
And it was wonderful because actually it was a celebration of everything that our industry is all about, and meeting all the movers and shakers there. And there were some amazing people who had some incredible stories, and we connected through that. And then I believe we started to do just a few kind of webinars together. Was it just, That was the first webinar that we did?
Yeah, you did some things with us for Beauty Directors Club.
Yes, that's right.
I just thought that the information that you had, because up until meeting you, really retail in our industry, in the beauty industry, is that secondary element. It's like always, and this is like from the days when I trained, so it doesn't seem as if it's ever really changed, in that treatments will always be at the forefront of like what happens in the beauty industry within skin clinics and beauty salons, and then retail, where we're very much of the ilk that it should be, you're not going to get fabulous treatment results without someone using fabulous skincare. And that's why I just thought the storytelling side of it, and it just takes away the ickiness of selling. So I was just over the moon that when we met, and I think we've just never stopped talking since and putting the world to rights on it all. Absolutely.
You're completely right. I think retail has such a bad rap. Just the word strikes fear into the heart of a normal therapist. Retail is a dirty word. Whenever I go on stage or I talk about it, I have to say, right, we're doing a retail piece, or, and everyone, their eyes start to roll because they think it's the same old thing that we've been taught. But as our industry has evolved, so has how we have to retail. And, I'm really passionate about it because I believe that retail is sales and sales is communication, and that is how you create the most amazing customer journey. I think to negate retail or to negate sales is doing your clients an injustice. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I also remember one of the podcasts we did recently, Amanda Pearson from Skin Revolution was on, who I know you've worked with her team, and she came out with a really, really great thing where she said it's like someone going to a doctor having a bad finger, and the doctor knowing the solution, but not telling the patient and just letting them like suffer on. It's the same with skincare and retail, isn't it? Where it's like, it's sometimes just not spoken about. And I just thought that was just such a great analogy of it to pull it together. So I know as well, before starting to record, I was like saying to you, what I want from you this time is I want some real hard facts on what someone needs to do and how they can really, really make change within their skin clinic or their industry. But before we do that, I do want to, first of all, because I go into a little bit about everything that you've done, even just since we did that first recording, because I think at that time, Shine, the book, I don't think that had released.
No.
And now, obviously, you've done StorySeller.
Yeah.
So let's just touch on, first of all, these two books,
Sure.
because they've both gone, you're now a multi-award-winning, best-selling author for both books. So tell us a little bit about both of those books first.
Well, I think Shine for me was a renaissance, a revelation, if you like, because my background is the corporate world.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always about having to be a certain way, look a certain way, dress a certain way, speak a certain way. Because unfortunately, in the beauty industry, the higher you go, it is men in suits who deal with some of the budgets, especially in corporate world, when you're dealing with brands. And Shine was an incredible piece of collaboration where business leaders and industry leaders got together to talk about how do we empower others through our own stories. And for me, it was me undressing and showing the world who I was.
Yeah.
And my chapter was called Shine Without the Suit. And for me, it was really poignant because it meant that I came into my own and I did a lot of deep searching, self-discovery. And it was about being happy with who you are and understanding that you have your ability to do what you want, but be the most authentic self and be true to yourself. And that was something that's taken me a long time to learn. I've always been authentic, but I've always felt like I had to fit in. But actually now, when you let go of that, it's quite a revelation. It's quite freeing because you attract the right people, your tribe comes to you, and actually you work better. There's a better dynamic. There's this freeness to working, and success you share with other people and you become each other's success. And that was amazing. So Shine was fantastic. And it was the first time that I showed a little bit more of myself, because I've been known to do it this way, do retail this way. This is sales. This is the corporate world. But actually, who am I as a person, and what are the experiences that have shaped me?
And anyone who hasn't read that book, I would highly recommend it. But it is like a multi-author book, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So there's 22 authors in there altogether, all sharing their stories. A little bit like the Beauty and the Best books that I've done with salon owners and members from Beauty Directors Club. But with that book as well, you touched on something there where collaboration is key, isn't it, kind of thing. And that is, we were talking about this earlier, about the journey that has led you now to the Storyteller book. And that has been a journey of like meeting one person into the next person, into the next person. So do you want to talk about that? And then we can, which is naturally going to lead into talking about this fabulous book, Storyseller.
Yeah. It's amazing, the amount of people who have so much love and compassion and passion for the industry, and how when you meet them on the same kind of field, when you're writing a book or you're co-authoring and working with people, how a lot of stories cross over and experiences cross over, and there's a deep underlying connection with those people. And then from that authenticity piece, people recommend you to other people. And then you have honest and open conversations. Vulnerability is something that I really champion. It's something that I champion with myself, with the therapist within our industry, to share something that makes them feel vulnerable. Because actually, when you do that, you break down barriers and you build trust, because we all have that aspect within us. So when you share with someone your vulnerability, even in sales, actually, you're more likely to close a sale because you're more likely to build connection. And it's just something that's human nature and intrinsic to all of us. So I think working on collaborations like that, being honest, authentic and true, allows you to meet and link with other people who open doors and opportunities, and actually unseen opportunities. I never saw, if you asked me a year ago where I'd be today, no, this was not going to happen, or this was never something I envisaged, I could not see it, but I trusted my heart. And a lot of people, yourself, for instance, we're heart-led.
Yeah.
I think that's a really beautiful thing in a community that we build.
So how has these collaborations led to you meeting Nicola and doing the StorySeller book?
Well, it starts with you, Malta, speaking at your event, which was amazing, your business boot camp. And then Joe Simpson was speaking, and I met Joe Simpson, and we hit it off. And she's a phenomenal individual, super hardworking, will help anyone, much like yourself. And then she invited me to speak at her mastermind event. And at her mastermind event, there was another speaker called Nicola Rowley. And Nicola Rowley is an ex-journalist from the BBC. She helps people with their PR as well. And I never understood fully that what I was doing to a certain extent was storytelling. Sales has an element of that, but I didn't realize that. And PR is also about positioning yourself and your stories correctly to be seen correctly, right? So I met Nicola, she was speaking, I was speaking, we're both taken aback by each other, and it was really wonderful. And then she invited me to speak at her mastermind. You said there's a domino effect happening here,
Yes.
if I can remember. Then I spoke at her mastermind, and then that was really successful. And she said, we have to work together. I love the way that you create stories. I said, Nicola, I love the way that you position and you help people, you empower people. There must be something. And it's very difficult when you're thinking about sales and PR, where is the link? And it was storytelling. So that then led to the creation of StorySeller, the course, and then the book.
Wow. So the book, obviously, because it's hard enough writing a book yourself and as well doing a one chapter in a book, which you did in Shine, is hard. But then writing a book with someone else, I should imagine, is even harder because you've got from two sides. So how did you do it? Did you do a chapter each, or how did you manage to marry the two industries and two minds together?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. I think when I teach retail sales, I always go back to the emotion. And that was a lesson in digging down deep into what you want to try and get across. So when me and Nicola had the conversation, it was very easy. We created the framework for the book really quickly. We said, no, must have this, must have this, must have this. It has to be emotional, has to touch people. It's not selly. So if I just do a plug, StorySeller, even the outside of the book.
I love the cover. I absolutely love the cover. Anyone who's listening, instead, it's like a blue, and to me, it's got a bit of like a look of a angel-y type thing. It's lovely.
I mean, I'm really proud of it. It's beautiful because it's a book that is kind of self-help for business leaders, for people with their own small businesses, for entrepreneurs, for therapists, for salespeople, anyone who wants to sell. However, it was always meant to be something that was emotional, connective. It should never look like a businessy book. It should definitely be about you're picking up a story. You're going to get emotionally involved. You're going on a journey. And some people see angel wings. Some people see like the cover of pages of a book with like magic or stars coming out. So it really is for you to design how you want to move forward on that journey. So that emotion was really important. So actually that was the easiest part, was the collaboration. We created the framework really easily. And then we write our own chapters, which is about ourselves and our experiences that led us to where we are in our lives today. Being vulnerable, because vulnerability, like I said, is really important. It's all, about sharing and caring. And then after we wrote our individual chapters, there was some challenges because I have a different tone of voice than Nicola. Our point of view is the same. So it was very much a journey of exploration. Nicola has written many books before. She's helped people publish their books. She's a seasoned journalist. So in that context, she was better to kind of write it, if you like. But we were working together on that stage by stage, ensuring that the terminology was correct, ensuring that the tone was correct. One person had to take charge in terms of the copy, but it was very much a joint venture together. Yeah, 100%.
And how long did it take?
8 months.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real labour of love.
Yeah.
So, someone reading the book, what are they going to learn from it?
So just like when I teach retail, you shouldn't feel that you're being selly. It's exactly the same with StorySeller. You are going to sell who you are. You're going to sell your business, your offering, your products, your treatments, but in the most genuine, authentic way possible, leading with emotion first. And when you do that, it opens up a whole new angle of clienteling. It opens up new opportunities to communicate with your audiences. You could pick up this book to want to write a newsletter, for instance, and connect with an audience. You can pick up this book if you don't know about perhaps what copy you want to write in social media. It creates the conversation around the sale. And if you do have a social media platform, if you do have a newsletter, you're always selling something. It doesn't have to be a product, but it could be a point of view. It could be advice. There's something that we're trying to do. So it's about creating incredible communication that allows your audience, to your customers and clients, to connect to you emotionally, to build that moving forward and have the most authentic experience in sales. That is a conversation. It's not hard sales. This is not a hard sell book. This is all about integrity. And it reads with real good devices and incredible frameworks that is step by step to help you achieve that, with case studies along the way.
This episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsor, Forest Salon Software. I'm especially delighted about this partnership because I've known CEO of Forest, Ronan Percival, for over 12 years, and he was also the first guest on this podcast. The Forest story began with a genuine love for the salon industry, and their passion for helping businesses thrive is what makes them such a great synergy and such a great fit for this show. They bring so much energy and enthusiasm to helping and supporting salons. And as part of this partnership, they are offering an exclusive deal for our listeners. It's a huge 50% off Forest Salon Software for the first 6 months. It's an incredible saving, especially in today's climate, and a great way for your business to stay focused and strong for 2025 and beyond. If you'd like to take advantage of the offer, simply check out the sign-up link in the show notes, and be sure to mention the podcast when you speak to their fantastic team. And thanks to Forest Software, and now back to our incredible episode. Oh, amazing. Because it is, I mean, when you're talking about newsletters, when you were talking about social media and things, it is, someone wants that connection, don't they? They want to feel like they know you and can bond in some way. And I know with my social media, I've just started changing how I'm doing things. And we've also done that with the clinic as well, with the help of Jackson Feely. And we've changed some things. And it is amazing how, when you become that little bit more open, how much someone wants to connect. And obviously it naturally will turn in, like, for sales. If you're selling products, someone having that connection, you can't do it without it, can you? And I think possibly this leads quite nicely on to, as I say, because I want to get as much information out of you as possible in the time that we've got. I don't know whether to do that, is it easiest to look at what you see that isn't happening? What you see when you go to a salon or a clinic, or you speak to a salon owner or a business owner. And I know obviously you work with spas, you also work with big brands across the world. What is sort of some of the things that you see that you just think that's never going to work in a month of Sundays, that someone has been either taught or is naturally gravitating against sales?
Yeah. It's really interesting. There's a huge kind of plethora of things that don't work. And the thing is, some of these things do work, but they don't work well. So,
right.
You might be able to sell in a certain way, or kind of position yourself in a certain way, and you might be doing it 10 times and you get one good result out of it. That doesn't mean that it's the best thing for you, but people are on a hamster wheel. And I think there's a huge amount of fear in terms of fear of rejection. And I look into this in my Retail Excellence course, but also we look at it in StorySeller as well. And people don't put themselves out their comfort zone for fear of rejection.
Right, yeah.
If you are a therapist and you're in a salon or a spa environment and you've just recommended someone all these products and you've gone into their lifestyle, you've done a perfect consultation, and they just turn around to you and say, no. Or they say, I'm already using something, or I'll buy it online. Instantly, that makes you feel, the first thing you think is, why did I bother? Why did I bother? And that negative thought stays with you and changes your mindset.
And then I think it gets to the point where you just think, well, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
And I see that happen a lot, where it's just, whether it's treatments or products, it's just that conversation doesn't happen. There's like just the chit chat goes on instead, kind of thing. And you think that is just all down to the fear of rejection?
Massively. I think so. And then it becomes a habit where it's easy to not say anything, and I'm not going to put myself out. I'm not going to have an altercation. I'm not going to have to deal with an objection. I'm just going to do my treatment. And if my client wants something, they're going to purchase. So I think that is the main cause, because we have to remember the caliber of people within our industry. People are heart-led. People are very emotionally intuitive when they're therapists. They're caring, they're considerate, they want to help. And those types of people are not big-headed, boastful, brash. Usually, they're a little bit more insular. They're a little bit more reserved. And that is not a bad thing by any measure. However, what I want people to do, if I had one piece of advice for the quickest way to transform your business, is to completely change your mindset and realize that you're not only doing it for the benefit of the client, but you're doing it for the benefit of yourself. You have worked hard. You have got credentials. You have gone to college, understood the deep fundamental workings of the skin. You have incredible product knowledge. You understand the efficacy of products. However, you're not sharing that knowledge. And that knowledge that you have cultivated over all these years of hard work is now going to waste. So use it. Use that as your superpower. Own up to that situation and share that with every single client, every single time, because it is a part of the service. It's not just the treatment. In a market that's super saturated, where customers and clients have more choice than ever, they can choose different salons, different spas, different retreats, and different products, and different therapists.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we have to make them understand that we're on a holistic journey. I'm with you for the long haul. I'm here to give you physical transformation that is going to give you emotional transformation as your therapist. I'm here to make you look good, but also make you feel good. But in order to do that, you need to listen to me.
So what percentage of a treatment time would you say that has to be? In my little book of client retention, because I see it so many times where it's just not talked about at all, excuse me. So I came up with a formula where it's like the 70-20-10. So say it's like 100 minutes, for example, that 70% of the time it has to be where a therapist is talking to the client and talking and gleaming information from them, like letting them talk about themselves. 20% is them being allowed to talk about themselves, because clients do want to know, like, sort of, you know, what you've been up to and things. And then I always like say 10%, which like, so 100 minutes, at least 10 of that has to be talking about what new treatments are, what products are, what the client needs, all of that. How would you look at that? Would you say that's about right? Or would you say that like sales has got to be weaved all the way through? How would you, I mean, I just came up with that because I thought we need something. We need something where therapists can think, right, how am I going to divide my time up so that at least part of it has to be talking about what's new and what a client needs.
Yeah. I think you're right on the money, to be honest.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think that's a great kind of framework for people to work towards. I think that we don't do enough in the consultation.
Yeah.
You know what I say, the consultation is the most important part. It's like It's like getting the most expensive moisturizer in the world, right? But not ensuring that your skin is prepped and cleansed first. So the moisturizer isn't going to work. It's not going to get you the results that you want. That consultation piece is so important. You know, it's like understanding what is going on. It's understanding, and it's having that space of time where you can connect with your client, eye to eye, human to human, and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And the amount of times it's like, jump on the bed, great, I'll be in a moment, get yourself comfortable, no consultation. And we've lost those 3 minutes, and I think it should be 3 to 5 minutes, which is the gold, what I call like the gold minutes of the whole treatment, because that is where you sell. You don't wait to the end. You do it in the consultation, you take the pressure off, and you reconfirm during at the end, and that's it.
That's what I was just going to say. You see it so many times when it's like sort of, when I say that like 10% of the time, it can't be the last, oh my God, I've got to get this in now at the end kind of thing, because I think that happens so much. So it's just like I've written down a few products for you that you would need, and that's it kind of thing. It needs to be weaved in all the way through, doesn't it, kind of thing. But like I'm saying, it very often is just like, right, I need to do that now kind of thing. And it's yeah, I mean, we talked about this many times, and I say this all the time, you know, on average, most clients are having 12 facials a year. If, you know, that's 12 hours. It's only half a day. That still leaves 364 and a half days a year where clients can just do what they want kind of thing, where it has to be at the forefront, hasn't it? I mean, you know, we've refused clients before where, you know, clients in their head as well, they are focused on, they think you're going to do a treatment and it's going to be a miracle that happens, but they don't want to spend on retail. So how do you advise someone to get over that? Because sometimes it is the clients as well who think that it's the treatments that are going to be the miracle. How can you change a client's opinion on that? Yeah.
So someone once told me, and I actually learned this in Harrods and Selfridges, and I was dealing with royalty. So I had a lot of princesses from Saudi Arabia who were very liberal. They didn't mind a man, you know, helping them with their skin and stuff, which was excellent, you know, at that time. Also, lots of different royalty from around the world. And I was always balancing service with being subservient, being really, really overly nice to someone in terms of giving them excellent service. But that's not excellent service. Excellent service is real, human, and honest. It's about going above and beyond always. Of course, being super, you know, lovely to your clients, but also having difficult conversations with them, because we have a duty of care for our clients. And that doesn't mean that they get to make the decisions. The reason they're coming to us is because we are the people who know the skin. We understand what needs to be done or what changes they need to make in order to get the results they want. That's why they're coming to us. And a part of that is that, and I'm so passionate about this, treatments are really good, but they only last between 3 days to 2 weeks. That's it. It's the home care. It is the looking after the skin. It is about feeding the skin actives. It is the massage techniques that you use at home when using product that amplifies the results of your skin and makes it far more cost effective. Because if you are using product and you are changing your skin texture, you're changing the hydration, you're perhaps adding more firmness to the skin, you're helping some collagen elastin production, then when you go in for your next treatment, your treatment is going to be far better in terms of the results because of the prep you've already done.
Yeah.
And that is like this kind of conveyor belt of improvement, transformation, where the aftercare and the home care helps you achieve incredible results. So actually you're probably saving money because you probably don't need to have as many treatments, but equally what you'll find is that you are going to get even better results by using at-home care. And you have to tell your clients this. Yeah. You have to just say to them down the line, I want to save money. If you want to get these results, I need to start using this at home.
But the thing is as well, you know, if you want to get dramatic results for your client, then you're never going to get them without them using correct home care. But as well, it's your reputation. And I don't just mean your reputation as in that you're giving the right advice to your clients. Your clients are walking adverts. Now, if they're having, like we say, 12 treatments a year and their skin is okay because they've had 12 treatments and it's a little bit better, yeah, it could be absolutely phenomenal. It's the whole reputation of the salon, the clinic, where you're going to get a reputation where, yeah, you can do okay treatments, where you've got phenomenal treatments that just need the skincare to make that happen. And it's getting that across, isn't it? So how do you get this across to therapists? Because, as I say, it's, so we've got that going on, but on top of that as well, there's a lot of money mindset. And I think what happens a lot is that if a therapist thinks that a product or a range is expensive, and they wouldn't buy it, then they think that the prejudging a client. And I always say, really, it's prejudice. You're discriminating, kind of thing. But you must see this. I see it, but you must see it in bucket loads. So how do you get around this whole thing?
Yes. So in my course, Retail Excellence, Module 3, there is a huge piece about dealing with objections. And one of the objections is price point. But the first thing that we look at is therapists thinking or assuming exactly what you said, Susan, that the client is going to have an objection before they even do. So first of all, we have to live in reality, not fantasy. And we have to wait for the client to create an objection before we put an objection in our mind. So 9 times out of 10, therapists will look at a £200 serum and say, no, that's too expensive for my client. I can categorically tell you that when clients come to salon or spa, they have disposable income. They have the income to be able to treat themselves because for them, it is a part of their lifestyle or their routine that they have made financial amendments for, or they've supplemented income to help them achieve that, right? If people could not afford, they would not come. And equally, it is with product. If they're not purchasing from you, they're going to be purchasing somewhere. They're going to be using something, whether it's Boots, whether it's number 7, whether it doesn't matter what it is. They could be using La Mer, La Prairie and spending £500 on a cream. We just don't know because we're not asking the questions. But the instant that we assume, we are doing a disservice to our clients and equally to ourselves. So I think when I teach therapists, I teach 2 things. The first thing is really feel secure with your craft and your authority. Understand that you are a lead and an expert and be passionate with that with every single client. Tell them that this is a journey, that you are together on this journey and you are going to achieve amazing results, but they need to do A, B, C, and D. Secondly, if we do have an issue or we feel as though money mindset comes into play, we still must offer a product to every single client, every single time, even controversially, I'm going to say this, even if they bought yesterday, we still offer an alternative, or we offer another product, or we offer something that is going to implement transformation for them. If they're using absolutely everything and there's nothing that we can do to level up their routine, more actives, higher concentration, maybe a mask, maybe a neck cream, maybe a body moisturizer, maybe an eye serum to supercharge their eye green, then we don't offer anything. But there always is something because our industry is always innovative. We move on to supplements. We talk about gua sha. We talk about, okay, great, you're now having an amazing skincare routine. I want to focus on your well-being. How are you unwinding in the evening to relieve stress? Because that will help with inflammation. It will also calm you down. We pivot conversations, bar salts, candles, room sprays. There is always something because what we are doing is we are supplementing a lifestyle. We are helping transform people's lives. It's not just the skin. The skin is one element of this.
Yeah, I always like to say, because when I came out of the industry for a while and I worked in a jeweller's, and obviously then, you're selling specific things like engagement ring. Hopefully the customer service is that good that they're automatically going to come back for the wedding ring. Hopefully it goes that far. And then from there, you really, you need it to be where that customer service is so good that whenever that person thinks about buying a watch or another piece of jewellery, that they would automatically want to come back to you. I always like to say, we are in a totally different field to that, where, my sales, when I was working in the jewellers, you might not see someone for another 2 years, because they're not going to be coming back the following week and buying something else and something else and something else. You might find that, but 9 times out of 10, they're not. Whereas, we are, I always like to say, skincare and cosmetics and body product, it's just consumables now. Someone runs out of something and they automatically are going to buy from either you or from somewhere else. And I was like, say, it's like toilet rolls. You're never going to run out of toilet rolls and think, oh, I'm never going to buy another one. You run out, and then what happens is, you buy to replenish. And it's exactly the same with moisturisers, with cleansers, with everything. Someone is going to run out and they're going to buy from somewhere else if they're not buying from you. And you just need to have the best product and be there for that continuation. It's not going to be that someone, even cosmetics, runs out of something and then doesn't buy again. It's just a continuation throughout their life now. And most clients are using possibly 10 plus things on their skin and body a day, from shower gel to shampoos to moisturizers, to supplements, like you touched on supplements.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I always like to see supplements are even further down the line. It's like sort of treatment, skincare, then supplements, where it should probably be totally reversed, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. We need to look at our salons as also being retailers. So when someone comes in to have a treatment, and if they run out of product, they should want to come back to the salon just to purchase a product from you.
Yeah.
Because you are the expert. You are the person who is guiding them on this journey. And, sometimes we have the objection as well, don't we? Where someone says, oh, I'll just buy it online, it's cheaper. And I get that all the time as well. What do we do in this situation? Well, if you have proven yourself to your client that you are the expert, that you have, a list of everything that they're using, you have all their information on their client card, then it's important for them to tell you and purchase from you, so you can ensure that you are doing the best by them, and you can always give them the best advice. That is worth more than saving £2 or £3.
Yeah. I mean, but as well, it's a faff buying online.
It is.
You've got to go on, you've got to look for the best price, then you've got to put your details, then you've got to put your card in, it like you say, it's not worth those few pound. And I mean, in my clinic, and what I always advise salon owners to do is to have a 7-day money back guarantee. And we've done that since day one, my clinic we've had now 36, 37 years. And in that time, we've had nothing back that we've ever had to refund. If someone returns something, it's just normally that they want a different texture, so they will just swap the product. But then that product we can still use within the clinic, kind of thing, whether it's on the tester bar or whatever. But moving on to that, actually, what do you think about testers and samples? In that, another thing I see a lot of salons and clinics do, where their product range, where they do the supplier does samples, and instead they'll send someone off with a sample instead of selling them the product. How would you get around that?
Yes. Okay, there's two trains of thought with this. My pet peeve is when people sample to shut down the point of a sale, right? So if someone is nervous about selling, what you'll notice, and I see it always, I used to see it as well in luxury retailers like Selfridges, Liberty, Harrods. If a team member was like, oh, I can't be bothered today, what I would notice is that they would give them a consultation form or write down products, and they just give them a sample. Because as soon as someone has a sample, they're not going to purchase.
Yeah.
You close down any conversation about buying product, right? So, and I do see this, samples are a really good way of getting people to purchase product, but they have to be used strategically. So if someone is purchasing something or you got them to commit to a purchase, then you sample an additional product because they've already made the commitment and you're adding value to their experience moving forward. That's the first thing. The second thing is, don't give a sample willy-nilly. If someone doesn't want to buy, that's fine, but sell them the story first. Make them understand the nuances of that product. Take them down a journey. Get it on their back of their hand first from the testers. Get them to try the product, smell, touch, feel, all sensorial. Remember, if you touch someone, they're 40% more likely to buy something.
Yes.
It's human touch. Do it in your consultations. This is what I train as well. Get product on the skin during the consultations. When people have it on their face, their eyes are closed. They're not really feeling anything. So it's really important for you to get it on their hands. They can see the glow. They can notice the texture. They can see the absorption and they can see the physical results. And that physicality, when we marry it with our words, can you smell that? It's rose. Or can you see how beautiful that texture is? That's going to really beautifully exfoliate the skin. You're going to notice your pores going to reduce. Your makeup's going to glide on. Using this language paints a picture for them. Only when you've done that, then you sample. Never give a sample without no explanation, no storytelling, and no deep dive into how it's going to be used for your client.
Quite often what we'll do is, if we have a sample, we'll be, as I say, because we've got the 7-day money back guarantee, which someone's never going to get online or anything. We sell the product, but give them a sample. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, and get them to use a sample. And if they don't like the product, to bring the product back unused. But again, it just never happens. What do you think about tester stands and having tested products in Arif? Because I know, again, I'm just being devil's advocate from like speaking to salon owners, they will say, well, that's all extra price and product, because they have to buy those products. Even if they're buying them as sample products, they're having to buy them, yes, at a reduced price. But if they're buying testers for all of those products, that is eating up a lot of the profit before they even start. What would you say there? Is that a good use of money?
Yes. Absolutely. I think you could probably double your retail sales if you had tangible, real products out and about that we were demonstrating on clients. Most definitely. There is a reason if I go to Space NK and I'm with a skincare brand, that we will sell product that has the tester out and about. When the tester, I'll give you an example. A brand last week, I looked at the sales. I was like, oh, we've not sold eye cream for 2 weeks. What on earth's going on? Serum selling well, cleanser selling well. Okay, good. No eye cream sales. What on earth is going on? I visited that store yesterday. There was no eye cream left in the tester. So there was no one able to demonstrate. Someone couldn't feel the texture, so they didn't have the impulse to purchase. But the other products that they were trying, you could get them on the hand, you could demonstrate, you could talk about it. They were selling. I think testers are, really very beneficial, but you have to use them. You have to strategize how you're going to use them as a tool to achieve your retail sales, as a point of conversation. It's very difficult for clients to buy into a philosophy or to a product without really feeling it first, unless they have absolute trust in you. And if they're a long-term client, you say, right, Mrs. Smith, we've got this new serum. It's amazing. It's £72. You need it. Like, okay, whack it on. Great. When you have that relationship, you can do that. But for new clients or new products, yeah, I think a tester is essential.
Touching on that, when you've just said that about having that relationship, this is something I see, and I'm sure you do too, is that I have the conversation where salon owner will say, I can sell. Why can't my team sell? I can sell. And I like say, it's because you're the salon owner. I've never done treatments for ages, years and years and years. But if I'm in my clinic in reception, I can take a product off a shelf and say to a client, without even knowing very much about that product, just say this would be absolutely fantastic for you, and a client will take it. So there is that where, it is the relationship, and it's that having that confidence. And what you've just said there was very confident. You need to say this, you need to say that. It takes a lot for a therapist to get to that point, especially if a salon owner is the one who's doing most of the retail sales, because there's a fear of especially if the salon owner's there, of a therapist thinking, oh my God, if I say this and the client doesn't take it, I'm going to get, well, I could have done it. And what I see a lot of the time is that it's therapists feeling that they have to sell, kind of thing, where and salon owners getting into, rather than it being a productive thing, it's a reactive thing. Kind of, how do you take away all of that? Well, we haven't sold very much this week, you've got to get selling, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's a lot to unpick there, Susan.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you. Okay, so first of all, we live in a hierarchical society where if someone is in a higher position, we automatically assume they're going to add more value to us if we have their time, right? And if someone's the owner of a business, yeah, okay, they're going to know probably a lot more than the people underneath them. That's a given. So when we're a salon owner, we sell from a place of authority because we already have the confidence. This is my home. Welcome. You're my guest. And as my guest, I'm going to treat you well, but you also have to do as I say.
Yeah.
And salon owners have that ability because they are the lead.
Yeah.
And sometimes their junior staff or their therapist might feel a little bit overwhelmed with that and can't take that stance. However, going back to what we were saying, we need to really empower our therapists. And there's a huge thing that we need to do as an industry to invest more in the education of our therapists, not just the education of treatments, but their self-confidence. And this is where retail comes into play, because retail allows them to communicate. It allows them to build conversations. It allows them to deal with objections. It allows them to be a lead by recommending product. So first, we need to invest in our people. Secondly, sales are not selling, they're a conversation. So our therapists have to start to get to grips with recommending product that they feel is going to transform their clients and give the reasons for that transformation. And it can't be done sporadically. It needs to be consistent. So when I've got people on Retail Excellence, the course, when I'm training people, every time I finish a call, every time I finish a training, recommend to every client, every interaction, every time. Every single time. We have to make it habitual. It needs to become a part of the process. It needs to become a habit, not just when they feel there's an opportunity. Because if we build it into the steps of the protocol, if we build it into the treatment steps, then it becomes fundamental for our therapists. And yes, not everyone's going to buy. That's fine. No pressure. But you need to introduce product. You need to tell them why. You need to storytell, and you need to tell them how it's going to transform them on their journey with you. And when you make those steps happen, it becomes ordinary, and it's not a scary thing, and it's not a pushy sale. I would say on the third point that you made, my memory's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah,
on the third point that you made, salon owners need to take a step back because everyone is very different. Everyone learns very differently. And when I'm teaching therapists, I give them the tools, and we give them the tools to be successful, but we allow them to use their language or to position how they want to sell the way that they want to sell. But as long as they ensure the steps are taken, that's the most important thing. So we need to take the pressure off them and say, I want you to have a conversation with your client. I want you to make them feel really special and make them feel that you really get who they are and the journey they're going on. And if that includes product, I want you to introduce product to them every single time, but don't wait at the end. And it is that first step of introduction. If the other steps have been cared for and done correctly, the sale will follow without having to sell the product.
And what do you think about incentives and initiatives? Sometimes I feel that it's a little bit like, it's used a little bit like as if it was training a dog, where like, you sell this and I'll give you this, and like, pat on the head kind of thing. I do think, before we move any further, that therapists don't get thanked enough when they do something good. And it's a lot looking at like what's not happening rather than like, because I think you can really, really big someone up just by like looking for the great things that they do, and I don't think that happens. But I'm saying it doesn't happen. It does happen, but not all the time.
Not as much as it should.
Yeah. I mean, I work with some salon owners who are phenomenal, but it does sometimes. It's something that has to be an active thing that a salon owner is doing all over the time. But what do you feel about incentives and initiatives? And because to me, they all have to be motivating, and if someone's not the best seller, you've got to make it so that it's not demotivating. So how do you teach and how do you handle around that?
It's a really good question. So I think incentives are good, but they shouldn't be relied upon. They are one tool. And I think when we're creating structure or making change in our businesses to ensure that we are having consistency, incentives are a good way to start, or to plug in some gaps that might need it. But what we need to understand fully is that when you have an incentive, you have to ensure that it's being dealt with correctly, that people aren't just relying on recommending product or selling product because the incentive is there. The incentive should be a reward. However, Susan, I absolutely loved what you said. Praise is an amazing tool. Actually, praise is even more vital, I believe, to a functioning team than incentives or financial incentives. Recognition is so powerful, but actually underlying what's going on, unpicking the recognition. You did good because of this. That was fantastic. I love the way you did A, B, C, and D. Not just that was great, and you're very good at this. I'm going to blow your trumpet here. You are very good. You'll give praise and you'll give why that was good. And that's really important. And I know that, as therapists, leaders, salon owners, we're busy. People are busy. I get it. But you need to take time out for your team. You need to understand what's going on. And praise, I believe, is the most effective way of getting there. And I praise constantly. So, for instance, Retail Excellence, going back to the course, we're on the WhatsApp group that we have when people communicate. They're good. I want to know good news. Tell me your wins. I want to celebrate your successes. And I'll send a voice note, or I'll ask for a bit more of an in-depth. Great. Now tell me how you did that. Yeah. Oh my God, that's fantastic. I love how you did that. Amazing. Up it up. Let's do more of this, So I think that's really, really important. So tactical praise is probably even better than incentives, but it means that salon owners who take time out of their business and offer that time to their team.
Yeah, because like you say, praise, it costs nothing. And it's been proven so many times that someone, not just in our industry, but across industries, that they work for feeling part of something, feeling valued, way above a monetary thing. And that's why, yes, it's great to have monetary incentives and things, but just to being that observer, I think, is awesome. Arif, I've got to get you back again as another guest again, because, this time has just flown over.
Is it done already?
Yeah, what you have done has given so much, but I still feel like we've just touched on the tip of the iceberg. So if it's all right by you, I would love to get you back again as another guest, another time. Because as I say, all of this has been absolutely gold dust. Anyone listen to this, I'm sure it's just, I'd say, go back and listen to it again, get a pen and paper and write down all of the key things that you've said. It has been awesome. So Arif, we will put things in the show notes. How can someone get in touch with you?
Oh, good point. So my social media, AI Beauty Consultancy. There is is it called Linktree?
Yeah.
Yep, you can sign up for the newsletter where I actually send tidbits. You could email me at arif@aibeauty.co.uk or reach out to you, Susan, and you can let me know if people want to say hello. But I'd love to hear from people. If they've been using some of these tools, I'd love to hear their successes or how well they've been getting on. Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, you're just such an inspiration, and I just love how you approach sales, because I think it's just revolutionising, and hopefully this is going to go far and wide in our industry, because change needs to happen, and I'd love to think that you are the one to do that. So
I'd love to. Just do it.
So thank you so much, Arif.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing.